Hi everyone, it's Gina from Gina C Creates, and today I'm going to show you how to make this tumbler using the Powerwash method. I'm also going to show you how to make the lid using artificial ice and UV resin. And if you are a beginner to making tumblers, this is going to be a great video for you because I'm going to show you the step-by-step process on how I make my tumblers and how to get them looking nice and professional-like. So make sure you watch the whole video and make sure to comment down below any questions you have, and I will be more than happy to help you and walk you through the process. Okay, for the tumbler, here's a few supplies you will need. I use the 20-ounce skinny tumbler, some spray paint, glitter, epoxy resin, a vinyl decal, your Dawn Power Wash, sandpaper, sandbar, a cup turner, some painter's tape, and any protective wear like a mask or gloves, and some sticks for the epoxy. And for the tumbler lid, we are going to need some artificial ice, artificial fruit. I use the lemon and lime bundle. And you're also going to need some UV resin, a UV light. I use 120 watts lamp, which I think works really well because it's going to get it nice and hard and it's not going to leave the UV resin tacky. So all my links are going to be in the description, so go ahead and click on those if you want to see which products I use. The first thing you're going to do is figure out the colors you need for the spray paint that you want on your tumbler. You're also going to need some painter's tape. This is my 20-ounce white tumbler I got off of Amazon. And I'm going to mask off the inside of the tumbler. I'm just going to place tape on the inside of the tumbler so I could protect it from all the spray paint and the adhesive spray I use, and to mask off any epoxy resin from getting inside. So I just take off piece by piece and I go all the way around. I even create a second layer to go farther down the cup. Also, if your tumbler has any stickers on the bottom, make sure to take those off. And then now you can get your cup turner and make sure it fits properly inside of your tumbler, because you don't want it to be able to wiggle. You want it nice and snug. Now your tumbler is ready to spray paint. I take it outside and I use a cardboard box to protect the surrounding areas so I don't get paint anywhere. So I'm just going to start one color at the bottom of the cup and make sure I go all the way around. And then next I'm taking the hot pink and doing the other side and just going all the way around, just making sure it doesn't get any drips or going too close. Next I'm taking the coral color and I'm putting it in the middle. And the best thing about spray paint, you could go back and go over one of your spots if you went too far down, like I did with my coral. So I'm grabbing my yellow and going back. Also the same with the pink. And now I think I have my cup the way I like it, so I'm going to let that dry for about 30 minutes and then I'm going to add the glitter on top. Okay, this is the spray adhesive I use. I'm just going to spray down the whole cup outside because it kind of has a strong odor. So just make sure you cover the whole tumbler completely, and then you're going to add the glitter on top of the corresponding color of the cup. So I start with the bottom of the tumbler and I'm just going to add the yellow glitter all over the yellow surface, and then moving on to the middle color, which is like the coral orange color. And I'm doing the same, making sure I'm not missing any spots as I go around. And the next one is going to be the pink one. And I'm just using sheets of paper to catch the colors in between so I could go ahead and save my glitter so I won't waste any of it. Okay, so after you cover your tumbler completely with glitter, you're going to let that dry for about 20 minutes. And then I like to spray the crystal clear sealer all over the cup so it will keep it from moving around and shifting with your epoxy. So just make sure you step outside to spray this as well and cover it completely and let it dry for 15 minutes. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and get the epoxy ready. I use the Amazing Clear Cast brand from Hobby Lobby. And it comes in an A and B part. You're just going to mix 2 equal halves together. So I have 3 cups in total, so I'm going to put the A solution in one and the bee solution in the other cup. And I'm just going to make sure they are even. And I'm kind of just eyeballing how much resin I'm going to need. I always like to make a little bit more than what I think, because you don't want to have to go back and remake the resin if you don't have enough. So I pour my A part, and then I'm just going to match the B part and make sure it's even. So then after I do that, I can mix it together in the third cup. And I'm just using my popsicle stick to make sure that it's even, and if not, I just go back and I add a little bit more at a time. And then I'm going to mix it all into one cup, and make sure you scrape it completely so you can have the equal amounts of each cup. And then you're going to stir it slowly for about 4 minutes to make sure the resin is fully mixed together. Then next you're going to lay the resin on top of your tumbler while it's turning. I like to use giant popsicle sticks and make sure I'm covering the whole tumbler, because you don't want to miss any spots. You're going to want to cover the whole tumbler completely, so you're just going to have to keep going back and forth while it's turning on the turner. And then next you're going to get it as close to the rim as possible, like I'm doing here. So you're just going to want to drag your popsicle stick to the edge, so it will drag the resin along with it, and you will get that nice clean edge at the top. And then you're going to take your kitchen torch and you're going to scorch out all the bubbles, and then I'm going to add some iridescent chunky glitter, and then I'm going to let this turn overnight for about 8 to 10 hours. Okay, so once your epoxy is cured, you're going to take your sandpaper, your sand block, and you're going to smooth out all the bumps and ridges on your tumbler. And I did this for about 15 minutes to make sure that my tumbler was smooth to the touch and I couldn't feel any imperfections. And then just make sure you clean all the debris off with a wet paper towel. And now we can move on to the power wash method. So you're going to need your Dawn power wash spray, a bucket of water or a water hose, however you like to rinse off your tumbler. So I'm just going to start spraying randomly all over my tumbler with the power wash spray. And you have to understand that where you're spraying is going to be covered, and all the color that is showing is going to be spray painted white. So I'm just going to cover this completely, and then I'm going to get my white spray paint and spray it all over my mug and keep turning it. And once I am done, I'm going to dip it into the water to rinse it off. And you're not going to want to touch this. You're just going to want to let it dry outside for about 30 minutes. And then next we are going to apply a coat of epoxy over this overnight. And then now we are ready to add our decal. So now I'm going to measure what size I need my decal. And sometimes if I don't have that fabric measuring tape, I use a piece of string and then I line it up onto my ruler, and I see that I need to make it 3.75 inches. So I'm going to come in here into design space and I'm going to upload the design I need. So I haven't unzipped it yet, so you're going to need to extract all files. So right click, extract all, and extract again. And now you will have an open folder to work with. So you just double click on the open folder and you're going to select the SVG file. And this is my design, Crazy Friends Good Times SVG, available on my Etsy shop. And that link is also available for you down in the description. Okay, so you're going to upload this, and it comes with 2 different styles. And you're going to want to zoom out so you can see the full design. And you're going to click ungroup so you can select each decal. And I'm not going to be using the color one, so I'm going to delete this one. And then I'm just going to use the solid one color one. And you can zoom back in, and then we're going to ungroup again. And now you could select the top color layer and then the bottom offset layer. So I'm going to just change the color to anything you are going to be using. And Next, you can change the color of the offset, and you can see how it's going to look. I'm not actually going with these colors, but these are just what I chose to do for the tutorial. And then now you're going to resize it. So you're going to select both groups and you're going to type in 3.75 for the width. And that's the size I want it to fit onto my 20-ounce skinny tumbler. So you're just going to go to the width at the top and type in 3.75. And now you can click make it, but I forgot to attach, so it's all going to be scrambled up. So you want to make sure you select the top group and you can hit weld or attach. I like to hit weld because it'll make it into one layer and not multiple layers. And you're going to do the same with the offset. So now I only have 2 layers. You click make it and it'll move it to each color matte, and make sure you cut on the vinyl plus setting. Now I have already weeded and cut it out my decal and it's ready to go. So I just found the surface I want to lay my decal on, and I'm using my transfer tape to apply it to my tumbler. So some people like to lay their tumbler down. I just like to stand it straight up and eyeball it. I make sure to press down the middle and then I push it outwards, and I make sure there's no air bubbles to make sure it's fully down. Then you could take off your transfer tape and you're ready to epoxy again. So you just mix another cup of epoxy and you lay it right over your decal, and you make sure you do the same process to cover your tumbler completely. Use the torch to get out any bubbles and let that rotate for about 8 to 10 hours. And now it's the next day and we are going to clean our tumblers. And you can use acetone or you can use paint thinner. I personally like to use paint thinner because it works the best and it gets off all the residue. So now I'm taking off the extra resin that fell into the cup with a razor blade. You're just going to use it like as a 45-degree angle and go all the way around. And then next you're going to put the paint thinner onto a paper towel and just rub the inside of the cup to make sure you get any residue out that may have gotten in. And next you're going to wash with soapy water and rinse, and then make sure you dry your tumbler completely. And now your tumbler is ready to go and ready to use. Next, I'm going to move on to the lid, and here are a few supplies that I use. I use pink glitter, I use my UV resin, and then I'm going to use these mini cups for mixing. And then I have my 120 watt UV lamp, and this one's good because the top comes off of the base. Then you're going to need your artificial ice, and then you're going to need your artificial fruit slices. And this one is a collection of oranges, limes, and lemons. And all those links will be available for you down in the description. And the next thing you're going to do is mix UV resin and your choice of glitter into your small cups. And just make sure it's not chunky, it just has a nice creamy consistency. And as you can see for this lid, it's kind of slanted at an angle. So I'm just going to hold it upright so it'll be nice and flat as I add the UV resin mixture on top. And then you're going to take your stick and you're going to make sure you spread it out to the corners, and make sure you don't make it to fall inside where your cap is, because then it'll be glued shut. And then I'm just going to hold the lamp over it so it can cure for about 2 minutes. So now that the UV resin base is cured, we can move on to the lemon slice. And I like to cover these with UV resin. So you're just going to add a little bit to the middle of this lemon slice and spread it out to the edges to make sure there's no gaps or bumps. And then you're going to put it under the lamp for 2 minutes and then flip it over to the other side and do the same to this side of the lemon slice. And I like to do this so it could withstand between washes and it won't take off any of the paint. And you're just going to put each side under the UV lamp for 2 minutes And then you're going to move on to covering the holes. Now on this side, you can tell it has a hole, and if any water gets in there, it's going to be problematic and probably have mildew. So you're going to make sure you want to cover it, seal it with UV resin. And now I'm going to add the lemon slice to the lid, and I'm just going to hold it in place while I have the UV lamp on top of it. Then you can let go and let it cure for about a minute. And then now I'm going to add each of the ice using the UV resin as glue. And just be careful because it could still slide around while it's not cured. So I'm just making sure I'm adding a little bit of UV resin for each of the ice. And then I'm going to put it under the UV lamp to cure. Then I'm going to add more ice pieces to this side, doing the same method, adding a little bit of UV resin under and then placing the artificial ice on top, and then I'm going to hold it under the UV lamp. You can also hold it at an angle so it doesn't spill inside of your cap, and then hold it under the lamp. And make sure you have gloves doing this, because if you have any on your fingers, it will burn under the UV lamp. So please wear protective gloves. Next, you're going to finish covering the lemon slice edge all the way around by covering it with the UV resin and putting it under the lamp for about 2 minutes. And now you can see I'm just going to fill in some of the gaps where you don't want water to get into. So you're just going to add a little bit of resin at each time and hold it at an angle so it doesn't fall into the cap, and hold it under the lamp again. So I'm just going to do this a couple more times, going all around my lid to making sure I don't have any holes where water could get in. And then I decided to add a little bit more ice to make it kind of have more volume on the top. So I'm just figuring out a spot to put the ice, and I'm adding more UV resin, and I'm sticking it on top, and I'm going to put it back under the heat lamp for another minute or so. And that's all it is to it, to making the artificial ice lids. You can add as much or as little as you like. You can even try different fruit slices. And I think UV resin works really well with making these lids, so you don't have to wait 8 hours for regular epoxy to cure. This is how my lid came out, and I'm pretty happy with it. You don't have to keep detaching it, and you're still able to open and close it, and you don't have to worry about anything falling off. And then next you're going to need 11-inch straws, because the 9-inch straws won't work for the skinny tumblers because they're quite tall. Just add the color of your choice, and now you're done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of my summertime tumblers. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and give it a like. See you next time.